Hello! This is the Commonwealth, and it's disgusting. If only there was a way to efficiently cleanse such impurities and usher this world into a new age of peace and tranquility. Well, when there's desperate measures, sometimes we're in need of a final solution. And that's where the Enclave steps in, because they've combined their progressive extermination skills with the resources of the Institute to create a weapon of mass destruction. This is the Tesla Cannon, and the Institute have released these guns into the Commonwealth in the thousands. So in this world, extermination is mandatory. The rules for this challenge are quite simple. Every creature with an IQ above 3 and opposable thumbs has the ability to vaporize us with colonial levels of prejudice. Sadly, due to the limits of this game's beautifully coded engine, the AI doesn't really function like normal. So by God, they better not miss. The goal? To save the Commonwealth from this ethnic cleansing by shutting down the source of the distribution. That means destroying the faction who control it. Therefore, the Institute must die.
Choose your character.
Who is confident enough to take on such unfair odds? Well, the only one with enough enhancements to make it fair.
Wait the fuck up, samurai.
Johnny Silverhands has been sent into the year 2287 to stop this, terrorist group from destroying the Commonwealth. He's fast, he's cybernetically enhanced, and his favorite weapon is pistols. But he's not from this world, so he's missing the traditional Pip-Boy obtained from Vault 111, preventing his ability to use that. However, his experience in Night City offers him two new abilities: Cyber Psychosis, which slows time at the cost of AP, and access to cybernetic upgrades for his hardware. Can they survive this onslaught of orbital bombardment, or will they be atomized and return to the cosmos as a cloud of burnt particles? Welcome to the story of Johnny Silverhand and his mission to burn the Institute. So to begin our journey today, we've got to lay bare our potential. You see, Johnny Silverhands is cut from an entirely different atomic structure from our usual Soul survivors. He'll be relying on his trusty pistol skills and overwhelming confidence to brute force this challenge.
I'm horny as fuck, man.
Oh, if only the missus were here to help.
And I know what you're thinking. I'm mad, right? Surely long range is the way forward here, but that's where you're wrong, dear viewer, because these beams of concentrated death, they have no travel time. So the moment anyone sees us, therefore, balls of steel and clever utilization of our cyber psychosis is paramount to avoiding a long-range anal fissure. The first couple of in-game days are spent clearing out the initial starting areas for some essential levels before we attempt to save scum our way through our incoming re-atomization. These places here are our safest options, as Concord and Satellite Station Olvia all ring with the calming ASMR of 100 generators attempting to vaporize anything within 1,000 meters. This, however, works to our advantage as we can comfortably get to level 7 and acquire the perks to get this run off the ground. Sneaky Feet, Pew Pew Damage, and Budget Assassination are perfect starter perks, but we have a long way to go before we're at our full laser dodging potential. Because it turns out, equipping every sentient creature in the Commonwealth with a portable microwave is somewhat akin to my entire weekend dose of CBT, as the constant barrage of hellfire pretty much obliterates us the moment we're seen, even in full power armor. But Silverhand is packing enough iron as it is, so power armor won't be necessary for today's challenge. Speaking of power armor, it was time to finally meet up with Preston Garvey, and the poor bastard is already being cooked, because the entire town hall was lit up within 3 seconds, and they kindly took most of themselves out, leaving us to deal with just 2 surviving bandits using our beginner's stealth perks. And our luck would continue to bless our run, as it also turns out Mama Murphy, Preston, Sturgis, and the Longs are considered essential NPCs, so they did survive the blast.
Now it looks like I'm the last Minuteman left standing.
He's fucked in the head.
Which leads us to the next objective. Sadly, the stealth doesn't quite work for this mission, as the raiders are already targeting you, unloading their death ray the moment I peek my head around the corner. But this gives us the perfect opportunity to utilize our plan to overcome this challenge. Yes, running the fuck away. Provided I can outrange the initial barrage, taking out the remaining bandits who survived is a trivial matter, and the bandits go down without a hitch. But Johnny's presence in the Commonwealth has not gone under the Institute's radar. The moment he arrived, they already begun mobilizing their forces to contain him, and thus they've sent in their big guns. Enter the Tesla Claw, a twisted monstrosity of metal and mutant flesh, ready to tear Johnny limb from limb. With our chamber empty and Preston thanking us for our service, we're stopped by Mama Murphy, who seems to be cyber psycho herself.
You're a man out of time.
I can feel your son's energy.
You're a crazy bitch, you know that?
Our next task is heading back to Sanctuary, where, with a few additional levels, the fun can really begin. You see, Silverhand is equipped with a robotic happy ending, and in this world, hardware like this would easily get him confused as a synth.
Communist engaged.
So some upgrades are needed. The upgrades are spread across a few different categories depending on which hardware is installed. For now, we only have a cybernetic arm and hand, meaning with Science 1 unlocked, we have access to a new gadget upgrade in the form of magazine launcher using our 2 points in gun nut, and a firmware update providing us with trajectory calculator, leaving us open for a future Uniframe mod and other body part upgrades as we progress towards the Institute's demise. So, after demolishing the entire town, we glue a few pieces of scrap metal to our arm and head off to our next destination. In order to gain access to the Institute, we've got a long checklist of objectives to complete, so come into my drafting room and we'll take a quick gander. You see, our adventure starts here, and to get to our goal, we have to progress all the way to here, so it's time to lock in. On the way to Diamond City, I'm starting to think I've awoken the apocalypse, because the peaceful travels across the wasteland is occasionally interrupted by a reenactment of the American independence. It's instant, it's unexpected, but most of all, it's very fucking loud. Fortunately, the chaos is merely beginning, because entering the confines of Boston itself turns into a deadly game of chance, as every corner is met with raiders, super mutants, or gunners willing to vaporize the microns in our LCD screens. Eventually, though, we make it to Diamond City, still intact and without a single threat of igneous vaporization. Our task in Diamond City is to find Valentine, a detective who can help us find the Institute's location, but turns out the detective has gone for a little walk, and we're short on time, so we extract just enough information.
Jesus, what am I doing here?
Skinny Malone's gang.
It would appear trying to brute force my way through tight corridors full of triggermen wielding giant cylinders capable of microwaving my eye sockets gives me a chance to put my stealth perks to work, taking out the triggermen with finesse and minimal save scums. Provided I'm not dog shit at the game. After freeing Valentine and acquiring a useless bobblehead, we swiftly cook ourselves alive and then proceed to watch in horror, as this version of Valentine doesn't seem to have a Tesla cannon, so he gets a taste of the old electric chair. The only real struggle I had was the charisma check with Skinny Malone himself that succeeded so spectacularly that everyone in the room decided to self-destruct. With Valentine secured, it was time to track down the first lead that will reveal our target, Kellogg. And by kicking down his front door, we discover his disturbing secret. But this brings us no closer to his location, so we scoop up something to track him down. Fort Hagen is our destination, but preliminary scouting of the area reveals it's teeming with dirty clankers. But if the advancements in AI robotics have taught us anything so far, the Tesla cannons are not in good hands. Luckily, I fixed the mod, so Valentine is suitably equipped to assist us now. So we slip, slide, and cyber psycho our way through the dark hallways of Kellogg's grave, listening to his incessant taunting as we dive deeper. It was here where I could really appreciate the beauty of the Tesla cannon, as Valentine was capable of clearing entire hallways on his own, giving us a clear path to slowly but surely make our way to Kellogg's final chamber. But it seems the Institute has gotten word that we're approaching closer to their location. Therefore, Kellogg has received some upgrades in order to take us out. In this world, Kellogg fully embraced his cybernetic side, equipped with full dermoplate armor and a Tesla autocannon. But it turns out the scripted event in this room renders all the work I put into modding this new version of Kellogg completely void. So I manually equip him with all this new stuff and quickly discover he's impossible to kill, as I simply cannot do enough damage, heal my wounds enough, or even consume enough drugs to kill Kellogg before the barrage of blinding electricity renders my firearms completely useless. So I had to get creative. And what better way than to use Valentine as bait as I fill the room with mines that I collected from Kellogg's armory, blowing him, Valentine, and the remaining synths to smithereens before they can even initiate the dialogue. But I gotten so wrapped up in the challenge that I forgot why I'm here. We were meant to extract the location of the Institute out of him. Well, that's not happening now, is it? So, scraping what remains of his brains off the wall, I think it's time we assess our options and head back into the drafting room and tick off our first major objective. With the defeat of Kellogg, I'm reminded of the horror that I've unleashed upon this world as the Pridwin announces his arrival between the sounds of distant energy explosions. But we can deal with that later, because first we need to see a woman about some cyber psychosis, and Valentine knows the perfect place. After another rocky trip through this post-apocalyptic Boston, we finally get to Good Neighbor and jam Kellogg's grey matter into this machine, letting us replay all of his recent memories. Okay, that's too recent. Back a few days. No, that's not. Forward a little. No. Jesus Christ. No. What about there? Perfect. Turns out, Kellogg's groupies have been getting into the Institute via teleportation, so now our objective becomes slightly broadened. We need to solve this dilemma, but unfortunately, our cybernetics don't extend to long-range teleports, so let's try and fix that. With our level now past 20, we have obtained the Science 2 perk, and thus unlocked access to our next set of body modifications, in the form of the Uni-mod. This is technically the final upgrade available to our arm, and adds a choice of special points to our stats. However, there is one particular upgrade that is different, and benefits our survivability significantly. Building towards taking the lasers straight in our face and surviving is statistically impossible, so if we're going to go for the cyber psycho route of killing them before they kill us, running from them is an entirely valid tactic, so we take the 5% increased run speed and add an additional cybernetic connector and torso plate for some more upgrades later on. But wait, there's more! After acquiring Kellogg's hardware, we now have a choice between a powerful set of brain enhancement chips: the brain augmenter, the pain inhibitor, and the limb actuator. Baseline, the limb actuator increases our damage, but as we level up further, we can unlock more of its potential. But now that we have the knowledge to get into the Institute, we need to actually figure out a way to get there. And we have 3 routes that we can take at this point: the Railroad, the Brotherhood of Steel, or the Minutemen. So first, let's try the one most compatible with Johnny, probably the railroad. Desdemona gives us an attitude, and Johnny ain't got time for that. So we try the Brotherhood of Steel, and we're accused of being a synth, meaning we're back to the Minutemen, and honestly, I preferred them all along. So we jam as many drugs down Mama Murphy's throat that we can, and it is revealed to us through the veil that a man, boiled and burned, waits for us in the glowing sea, possessing the knowledge to craft an all-powerful schematic. So it was off to the glowing sea. The mutants present in this area pose very little threat compared to the Tesla-wielding raiders present in the city, so we take our time enjoying the sights, free from the insidious sound of the zap that permeates the streets of, oh god, the children of Atom have them too. Luckily, they are friendly to us, so we take advantage of their hospitality and discover a note that leads us to our next destination. Ghouls, stingwings, and rad scorpions attempt to stand in our way, but we swiftly nail them with our cyber psychosis, leaving a lone Deathclaw to face us in battle. Luckily, I still got a couple of mines left over from our fight with Kellogg, so we blow him the fuck up. Inside, there is little resistance. However, it turns out our almighty schematic, it's just a crayon drawing. But Sturges, the Minutemen's engineer, apparently possesses the knowledge to decipher it. So, heading back out and collecting the required materials to craft this teleporter, we die a gazillion more times before finally completing construction. But this is Fallout 4, and the almighty Todd Howard needs to pad out the game time. So we need to do a Disney and acquire one last MacGuffin, the key to unlocking the teleporter, a Corsair chip. But how do we find such an elusive creature? But then it hits me, or rather, it hits Mama Murphy, and her vision reveals a tower full of green, fighting for their lives against a foe unseen, possessing an item to reignite our drive. We must venture forth, fighting for our lives. Yeah, so it's the green tech genetics, and it's full of gunners, so this isn't gonna be easy. With the chaos increasing to apocalyptic levels the higher we get up, it took all of my stim packs, drugs, and willpower to brute force my way through the microwaves. I finally realized my stealth perks at this point were completely useless, and the only way to really progress through this hellish challenge was to just get good. Rewarded because upon slaying the gunner leader, Johnny is reunited with his famous gun. The last time he saw this, he was knocked on his ass by Adam Smasher, and Johnny was sure he took it as a trophy. Regardless, with a massive firepower upgrade, we were confident and ready to step into the elevator and claim our true prize. But as we approach the pinnacle of the tower, we meet face to face with our target. Without the railroad's intel or the Brotherhood of Steel's knowledge, we've waltzed right into an Institute trap. A Corsair we were expecting, but standing before us, a being feared across the Commonwealth for his lack of mercy. And with that, the next major step of our quest is complete. All that's left is, well, the annoying part. With the Corsair chip yanked out of Abraham's final victim, our final destination has been unlocked.
The Railroad's the only group with people who even understand Institute security protocol at the most basic level. You'll need a code tape to find them. Follow the freedom trail. I'm afraid that's all I have.
But unfortunately, We've made a grave mistake. We slaughtered the paths forward. The consequences of our own actions comes to mind as we ponder what to do next. But then I remembered Johnny is from Night City, so he can just decode it himself, leaving us with our last round of upgrades to go before we take on the Institute. After deconstructing about 12 hours worth of junk collected so far, we attached dialysis implant into our spine connector, enhancing our passive healing capabilities by 20 per minute, which looks a little bit like this. But what if we could go even further beyond and supplement that with Stim Enhancer for an additional 10% Stim Pack healing, which now looks a little bit like this. Yeah, it's completely useless. And finally, we upgrade our joint connectors with high impact reinforcement, turning us into a steam truck capable of blowing people away using just our sex appeal, leaving us just 2 points shy of unlocking the full potential of the limb actuator. Alas, mysterious upgrades, we shall never know thee. Before we suit up and attempt our siege on the Institute, we approach Mama Murphy, drugs in hand, for one final advantage. But as we approach the teleporter, Preston interrupts us. He says we're not ready.
I've had word from a settlement.
Welcome! Brother, this guy stinks!
If we're to gain the firepower to take on the Institute's might, we need an army, and he has the perfect plan. Global domestication. 1 settlement, 2 settlements, 3 settlements are liberated by Night City's finest, but not all of them play along.
What do you want? Johnny Silverhand, rock legend.
And with examples set, the rest of the Commonwealth follows suit. But Preston, well, he's still not satisfied with 300 obedient troops. We need a base of operations, he claims. Not sure what's wrong with Sanctuary Hills, but Preston ensures us that he knows the perfect location. This is the castle, and after taking it back from the Mirelurk Scourge with relative ease, we can finally enjoy it. I mean, come on, man, I can't even escape the Tesla cannon's friendly fire either, but at least it's big, it's walled, and it sports mortar cannons on its walls, providing a slightly different way to obliterate ourselves instantly during this challenge run. And honestly, it's the perfect place to gear up our army with the very weapon that we've been haunted by. 10, 20, 30 soldiers willing to take down our foe, all wielding Tesla cannons. The Institute is finally ready to burn. One last check-in with Sturgis provides us with a thermal detonator to plant on the Institute's nuclear reactor, so we approach the teleporter to begin our siege.
Man, I'm dead.
The moment our army teleports in, we are lit up almost immediately. Preston and his soldiers hold their ground just long enough for us to slip past the front lines. Our task here isn't to be taking on fodder, it's to locate their leader and assassinate him, disorganizing their forces and watching them crumble under the chaos. We're met with the usual bullshit around most corners, but after 40 hours of dodging instant laser death, my instincts have gotten pretty good. We slowly stealth our way through, utilizing the 3 stealth boys that we took from Kellogg's corpse, and enter the final chamber. Our target finally stands before us, unarmed and easy pickings. He tries to convince us that he's our son, but everyone knows Johnny ain't got time for commitment, so he delivers the final blow. But it wouldn't be that easy. It seems the Institute has one final trick up their sleeves. In the same way Johnny Silverhand got into this world, the Institute reverse-engineered the technology to bring in the only man to ever defeat him.
You had to go and ruin everything.
Told you, Johnny boy. Told you I'd end you someday.
With Adam defeated and the old man's head turned to mush, we fulfill our contract to the Minutemen and meeting back up with them to plant the bomb on the reactor. But despite the assassination, their resistance continues, rebelling against me, turning their leader into dog chow by throwing me about like a dog toy. But I have wisened up at this point, so clever utilization of my cyber psychosis and peeking around the corners renders their Tesla cannons almost void, allowing us to reach the reactor and plant the bomb. We're teleported back, but a random kid tries to talk to us, and we all know how Johnny feels about that. Sadly, this led to Sturgis soft-locking, telling us we hadn't even spoken to the kid yet.
But you didn't even talk to the kid. You're not gonna leave him here, are you?
I don't think he's gonna be chatting to us, to be honest. So, one quick load later, we tell the kid to scram, leaving us with just one task remaining. And that's pressing the detonator. So, we retreat to a safe distance and watch our work unfold. Marveling in the praise, the booze, and the freedom now that the Institute has been wiped from the Commonwealth, our victory is sweet. The Minutemen bask in the glory of dance as they reap the rewards of total domination. The Commonwealth is free, and Johnny lets out a sigh of relief and shakes off his feeling of unease. That was until disaster. No purpose left to live for, and their bodies shattered and burned. The remaining synths, still loyal to the Institute, come pouring out of the city like a wave of mechanical death. Hundreds, if not thousands, of robotic shells move to flatten the castle and destroy the Minutemen in revenge. Johnny gives the troops a pep talk, but the synth's modulated screams hit them harder than 1,000,000 Tesla cannons. Our mortars are no match for the combined might of the steel claws that rip and tear at our walls, so our troops prepare for the worst. Told you Johnny knew this would happen. For you see, going back in time, prior to capturing the castle and bolstering this army, Mama Murphy had one last premonition for us. When the wave of steel washes over the battlements, only the sun can protect its inhabitants. Deep within the Institute, an experimental weapon lies, only obtainable after the Institute dies. And Johnny went to retrieve it. This is the Archimedes Mark II orbital targeting system, and it controls a satellite high above the Commonwealth. Once a target is located, it summons a giant frickin' laser to destroy anything within its radius. But here's the problem. In the hands of a normal Vault Dweller, this gun has a 24-hour cooldown. But Johnny isn't just a normal Vault Dweller. He's a badass, he's a net runner, but most importantly, a sex icon. And the truth can finally be revealed. The reason we didn't have enough perk points to unlock the full power of our limb actuator is because we pivoted our points into hacker and atomic physicist instead. Because combining these two perks and our knowledge of Night City, we can deactivate the Archimedes safety protocol and deatomize the Institute once and for all.
What a fucking shit sty.
And that's it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it because I very much enjoyed making it. I want to thank everyone who supported me in 2025, and to both returning and new viewers, I wish you a very CBT-packed year as I continue to bring you more cinema soon. So subscribe and I'll see you in the next one.